Welcome back to Go Up or Get Out. I'm half the podcast, Sam.
I'm the other half, Mel.
Welcome back, you guys, and happy February.
Happy Love Month.
The month of love, they may say. So we decided to kick off the month of love with episodes about love. So get ready. That's what this whole month is going to be dedicated to. And we are actually going to start with a platonic sort of love.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about friendship breakups today. And sometimes those just feel like 10 times worse.
They always, I don't know why.
They just linger.
I think somebody said to me that it's because it feels like you're like losing a family member.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel like that is just the epitome. Like you've grown up together, you've like made kind of like a life together in a sense. And then
it's like you do everything but sleep together.
Yeah. Which is like, okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think it just ends up hurting a lot because it's like this person was so heavily involved in every aspect and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just like, I feel like it lingers because like with a breakup with a person, most of the time you're like, we're done. Like, that's it. We're over romantically. I know this is just never going to happen again.
Yeah.
But like with a friend, you're like, maybe like we'll fix things or maybe we'll be on the same page again one day.
Yeah.
There's just like this hope there, I think, that is like, maybe things will change, but with a relationship, you usually get to a point where you're like, that's just never happening again.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we're going to chat about our good old friends that we had to break up with and our experiences and all that jazz.
At 25, I feel like, I'm trying to think of like how many friends I've lost. It's kind of a lot.
Dude.
Makes me sound like the bad friend. But I think you just have to make decisions for yourself in your life, I guess, as you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just don't fit anymore.
So before we get completely into how many friends we've lost, we do want to quickly just remind you that we're changing the structure of the way the podcast kind of works these days. If you like it, if you don't like it, let us know. We're just kind of trying to figure out if this is a better flow for us. But so we're going to now have 2 episodes a week. We're going to have the main segment, which is Glow Up or Get Out. And then we're going to do our glowing hour in a separate episode on Fridays. So that'll be like our boozy, chatty episode. And then this will be like our serious, more constructive, long form.
Probably longer.
Yeah, long form content. So just stick around and let us know what you think.
Yep.
But all right, so just to get into the topic.
Oh, man.
I think I think making friends in general, I think now being adults, we've realized how difficult it is. And I think it's because when you're kids, like everything kind of just goes.
It happens and you don't know how.
Yeah. And you're also like all kind of in the same like ballpark. Like you guys are all kind of doing the same things, learning the same things. And so it feels easier to connect. Mm-hmm. And now when you're adults, it's just kind of like there's all these different directions that everyone's being pulled in. And if you feel like you're not really vibing with that, then it gets kind of a little bit tricky. But I did read that there's like a statistic where like making a lifelong friend is almost like impossible. Like it doesn't happen for a lot of people, which makes me really sad.
Yeah.
But some experts say that friendships tend to have a lifespan of 7 years. So if like you're making it over the 7-year mark, you're pretty in the clear,
you're
but like
probably good. 7 years is a long time, and I feel like I'm very lucky to have friends that I've had for more than 7 years.
Yeah.
Like people who stick around from middle school to like high school. It's just crazy that high school friends are like longer than 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so we're that old. Even college right now.
College is how many now at this point?
2019. Well, if we started in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
We made our 7 years.
We're on our 7 years. Don't worry.
You're thinking about it.
Dude, that's crazy. But yeah, I think that statistic isn't hard to believe, but it's also like crazy because I feel like most people I know have high school like friends still,
yeah.
or middle school friends still. So I'm like, wow, we're all just blessed.
I also feel like when people think about like lifelong friends, like they also think like it's has to be like this
kindergarten or something.
Yeah, that too, but also like it has to be this connection that's like so present like all of the time, when I think lifelong just means like you guys will always be friends no matter through like all of the twists and turns that like life brings at you, and like you don't always have to be in the exact same like flow, but you'll be there for each other, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess we'll get into some of the nuances in that.
All right. So the main segment we're going to be talking about when the friendship is over. Like, it's done. What are the signs? When is it time to end your friendships? And we listed a few of the things that we think are like deal breaker, it's done. And then in glowing hour, we're going to chat a little bit more about specific red flags. Doesn't mean your friendship's over, but maybe it's something to take note of.
Yeah.
So first thing is outgrowing your friendship or just being in a different phase of life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could kind of be red flag-y. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to just end the friendship, because like you said, you don't have to be on the same page all the time. Like, my best friends, when we went to college, we all went to completely different colleges, very far away from each other, but we still stayed best friends. So,
and they were like very different lifestyles from one another. Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and now like both of us have like friends who are getting pregnant and having babies, and like we can't necessarily relate to that, so we are in different phases, but I don't think that that is a defining like factor, but it can be, is what we're saying. I think when you're at least like letting those different phases create like a specific type of like animosity or distance between one another. And this, I found this article where they were talking about, we'll probably link it because we didn't get to read it fully, but it was talking about like the different viewpoints the different viewpoints of each person who like ended a friendship. So like in this one particular situation, a friend was like married, like she had been having some marital troubles, and one of her friends, the friend that was on the other side of this, was helping her through that and like kind of helping her decide whether or not she wanted to get a divorce and like all this stuff. And after, you know, things got better with her husband, she kind of like felt like her friend was still in the same like party and like being single kind of life, and so she felt like there wasn't a lot of
things they can relate on.
So she started to kind of distance herself from her, and she also had felt that her friend only came to her for support on breakups, when the other friend, like I just said, helped her with like her divorce situation. Not divorce, but like almost divorce. And the other friend was talking about the friendship ending because she felt like they didn't connect anymore, and at one point like they were gonna get like dinner or something, and she didn't want to go anymore because her husband was gonna be there. And I think like in that instance, like maybe there's already animosity towards like,
I mean, she knows
the partner.
everything.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird, you know? And so I think each of them had their own like reasons for it, and like it will never be completely like they won't be on the same page. Like when a friendship ends, I feel like no one's on the same page about it. And that is a big like, you should probably not be friends.
That is kind of something crazy. Like, you're never going to be, not never, but you most likely won't be on the same page just because, like, I don't know, everyone wants to be the good person in the story. Yeah. So it's like, no, it was because they were on a different page, or like they wanted to be married and like do their thing, and I wanted to like live my life, and like nothing should hold me back.
They were just too single, like they wanted to always go out, and
but like she was there for her through a divorce, almost divorce. Like, what do you mean? She was there for you through a really hard time.
I'm kind of, there was like Christine and Justine or something like that, and I was like, I'm on Christine's side.
Either way, clearly they weren't gonna be friends.
They just had like warped perspectives on each of their like support in each other, and I think that was just, if you don't feel like you're getting an equal amount of life from each other, I think it's that's when it's kind of time.
So either way, fair enough, but their stories not adding up.
Maybe y'all should talk. Number 2, different life paths, which we kind of went over, and then growing apart and nothing to connect on. So this is like, I think this is kind of when like lifelong friends stop being lifelong friends, or like when you don't even get to the 7-year mark, but you've like lived 6 years together and things in life get different for one another. One like gets really into, I don't know, I'm gonna say like pop culture, and then the other one is like very into like medicine and like you know, it's just like the worlds can align or they can't. And I feel like if people just are in different opposites of the spectrum, it's just not, what are you going to talk about?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily has to be the end, but
no, but some people might, like if the medicine person is like constantly wanting to study, doesn't want to go out, but the pop culture person's like, I want to be in LA, I want to meet someone famous, I want to blah, 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 and they're like, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So like in that case, it's like, what do I hang out with you for then? Like it's also really hard too when it's like lifelong friends from when you were younger, because once you get older, like everything changes.
In maybe oversimplified like explanation or like example, I feel like in high school I had like really, really close friends from like elementary school to like end of high school or like mid high school. No, end of high school. And we just all started liking like different things. Like I was very into like indie music and pop and I don't know, just like that kind of thing. And then like my other friend in specific, they were into like EDM and
they wanted to go to raves.
And I even tried to go to a rave.
You said, let's try one.
A girl fell asleep in the back because I was so tired and I just like hated being there.
I'm dead.
Which that's unsafe. Don't do that.
Don't fall asleep at a rave.
But I feel like that's when I kind of like realized like that was like interesting, but not for me. And I feel
you tried it.
Yeah.
You tried it.
And I feel like if that's something you like to spend your time on, I don't want to like make you feel like you have to invite me or like we can't, you know, we can't hang. Like that's how they were spending most of their time, at least in like
weekends were about raves.
And that's just not what I wanted to do anymore. And I think that that's what kind of like drifted people
sometimes away. It's like a swift drift. Everyone's like, yeah, we don't really,
and it's not like a bad thing. It's just more so like they probably found like a community within their own you know, what is it, like plur?
I don't have any idea.
Peace,
what the
love,
rave,
unity, respect.
Stop it right now.
I think that's what it is. I'm not trying to shade no EDM people.
I'm not shading them either, but
it's not for me. But I think
next, difference in values.
This
that
is
one,
a big one.
It goes back to like I don't even think we gotta explain. It's just,
you think so?
I just like, it's like y'all just
yeah. It's just like,
which I think. Wait, let me preface this. You can be friends with people who have different beliefs.
Beliefs is different.
Yeah.
Values
are different.
Are a completely different form.
And I think this is like, once you're at the stretch of like, we've tried to communicate about it, we've discussed our sides of each whatever value, and it's just coming down to like, yeah, we disagree real heavy on that or whatever the case is. So
I think it's like also to even just get like very general, I think you can like, a person can be very like value oriented and live their life value oriented, and somebody can just not. And I personally can't understand that.
People are just like, I'm living.
Yeah, but I'm also like, good for you. Like, you're probably happy and living your life. But we probably don't align in that way because there's like, I don't know.
On the grand scheme of things. Okay, yeah, there's also that.
I also think that like an example of like a value would be like balance is a value, like having balance in life, and you could take that many different ways. But I think with like having, when two friends like feel completely different about a situation from each other, I think like if one doesn't feel like they even want to listen to the other person, then it becomes like, okay, our value systems are completely different because there's no balance here of you telling me your side, me telling you my side, and then figuring out like,
can we meet in the middle?
A meet in the middle.
Yeah.
If somebody's just like, it's my way, then the value system there is just never going to work.
Yeah, that alone is like,
you know,
you're not willing to compromise with people, and that's an issue.
A difference in values, I feel like, is probably the overarching like.
And values is so wide.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
and everyone has different ones, and I don't like to say that anything's good or bad. So like, it's just different.
Yeah.
Everyone can have their own perspectives on how they want to live their life, and sometimes they just don't match up. And you'll find people who do match up.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Next one, number 4, one-sided. I feel like that's probably a really popular one. It's just, you've been there when you're the one always reaching out, wondering if they even like you anymore, or if they even want to see you, or you're constantly there for them when things are hard and they don't reach out when things are good, or you feel like they don't ever ask anything about you and how you're doing.
Oh, that part.
That's tough.
Yeah. I think, I'm like, what is the statistic? Like 1 in 7 people are narcissists.
Your friend might just be a narcissist, babe. And maybe you're okay with that. And maybe you're
if they're
not.
in therapy, like maybe there's a chance. No, I'm kidding. But
not just roasting the narcissist.
I definitely feel like the one-sided thing is probably the most common that happens in like friendships. And it could be an effect from like
all the other
the
things.
Cause of having different life paths or whatever, growing apart.
Yeah. And they could be doing it in reaction to having a difference in values. And they're like, you know what? I don't even give a fuck about you. If you reach out to me, okay.
Like, I guess we'll hang out. It's
like, baby, just end the friendship.
And also reflect a little bit, because like if you feel like you have a person you feel that way about, just don't be friends.
Yeah. Or maybe think about, have I been pushing them away?
Yeah.
Is there something wrong? Maybe
Yeah.
be like, let's talk. I feel like we've been distant.
Exactly.
And that's okay too. Sometimes that doesn't mean this is
Let it
like,
go.
I feel like all this is like very much like building up, like things that have built up over time. It's not necessarily one and done, which if you listen to our episode coming out on Friday, then those are some red flags that maybe just look out for. Keep your eye out.
Yeah. I think like you said, this is like a buildup of things happening. And I think for all of these things we're like talking about, I think there's an opportunity to like have a conversation, to be proactive and like not allow a friendship to die, but it's gonna take work. It's a relationship, like you guys both have to put some time aside and effort, to work on the issue. And I think that's another thing people like a misconception about friendship is that it's just supposed to be like always easygoing and everything. Like
everything's peachy.
I think for the most part, yes. I think friendships are supposed to be like fun and like relatable and just very like easy flowing, but a lot of the time it's two people making a connection, and that's sometimes like all of these factors can come in and kind of toss you around, and you have to just talk about it and work on it, or just let it go, like we said. So just remember it's a relationship of some kind. It's not just like
it would be unrealistic to think that any relationship you have is going to be perfect and like you guys are going to agree on everything, because that's not what you want. You don't want friends that you just literally agree with everything they think and say, because then it's like you're just a mirror of me. Like you're not someone different. You're not giving me perspective and inspiration or whatever. Like we're different, and that's fine, but y'all can't be too different to where you are fighting all the time. That's not good.
Then that's not good. Yeah. The next one is support. So if you feel like the support isn't equal, like again, we said one-sided, or if you just feel like you're not getting any support from this friend, I think that that's probably something to talk about, or a sign that the friendship is just not going to work out.
Or it's just not as deep of a friendship, which I think is also, if you are okay with having surface level friendships.
I would call those acquaintances though. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I think.
But it wouldn't cause a breakup then.
No.
Necessarily. It'd be more of a, I know where we stand.
Yeah.
We go out together, we grab drinks or whatever.
We have a good time.
But we don't talk about anything much else.
But yeah, I think one of like the main pillars of friendship is like support for one another. So if that's missing, yeah.
All right, next, last actually, selfishness. They're self-involved and everything's about them.
Again, narcissist, 1 in 7.
Yeah.
I'm so wrong about that statistic, I feel. But anyway.
It's probably like 1 in 1,000. Like 1 in 7.
1 in 7.
I think selfishness, oh man, I don't know if I've dealt with that personally. Oh, you have? Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, people just only care about themselves, which again, adds into all this other shit, like their value system, one-sided support, blah, 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 blah. Like, friendship's about bouncing off of each other. And what's the point of having someone just talk about themselves all day? Sorry, but I don't care. Like,
it's like, when is it my turn?
Like, are you gonna ask me anything about myself?
Yeah.
What is that saying? It's like, you want friends who will bring your name up in a crowded room or something. What is that saying? It's like, it's not that at all. But it's, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The one where it's like, for an opportunity. I don't fucking remember.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the quote, but yeah.
Something like that. If y'all know what it is, comment it. Because
there's also like, this is different, I guess. Like, but like your friend will like back you up when your name comes up, like up in like a
like someone's talking smack about you. Yeah, why don't
like,
we know these quotes?
behind your back, they're still your friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're not there, they'll speak up for you in a crowd.
I don't even think that's right.
Something like that, y'all. Something like that. But you know what we mean. Those are like, I think, deal breakers. And they tie into a lot of our red flags that we'll talk about later this week. But
yeah.
Friendship breakups are hard. So hard.
I feel like the most like memorable, like hurtful conversations or like endings always tend to be friends. And you know what? I also think like, yes, a partner can like really know you, but I think like a friend knows all of the dirty shit.
Not dirty. They know from relationship to relationship.
They know you from like a span of time, and they know you because I feel like when you get into a relationship, not that you become a different person with each person, but like the relationship with that person is different. So than with the last one. Or the next one.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Funny to think about.
So like your friend has seen you through all these different phases of people you've become with other people
they know
that you are
all
romantically.
the parts of you.
Yeah, they know literally details that probably no one knows. And so I feel like some of the friendship breakups I've had, like they've used stuff that I felt was my own insecurities or my own like
a little more cutthroat.
Yeah, it was very cutthroat of like using something against me at me, like to end the friendship or like even right before. And it's like that's why it hurts, because they know those aspects of you and they're using it to hurt you even more. I feel like that person, like a friend, is the most, it's like the person who could be the most dangerous to like hurt you, because they just know everything. They know everything.
I feel like one of my most difficult like friendship breakups was during high school, because it was just like, it was high school. You're so vulnerable as it is. And it's like the first time you're probably experiencing maybe a breakup at all, let alone friendship breakups. So I was just like, dude, what the fuck? People can just all of a sudden decide they don't like me. And the worst part was we didn't know how to handle it because we were in high school. And I got no reasons, no closure. There was no actual conversation. It was just like, yeah, we're done. And I was like, we've been friends since like second grade.
Like, are you for real?
Like, this is weird. I've been here for you, bitch. What the hell? I think having this kind of like knowledge makes it a little bit easier, because I feel like it's very easy to take a friendship breakup very personally and be like, oh, well, like I'm better than them. Like they don't know what they're missing. Shit like that, you know?
Maybe true, but girl, calm down. Humble
but like,
yourself
yeah, at the end of the day, it's like we just don't vibe, and that's fine.
I think that took me a really long time to like comprehend, because I definitely did always take it personal of like, what did I do to you? Like, what is it that I did? And sometimes like the answer could not be like answered. They just didn't.
That's what I got.
Like who like I was at the moment, or like what I was, who like literally just me. They didn't like me, and like that was so hard to comprehend. And maybe it wasn't just that,
there
but
could
like
be. There's definitely like we don't get along because you have a boyfriend and
that's happened to me.
I'm insecure. I'm just kidding. Yeah, like the reasons could also be not valid necessarily in your eyes, but to them it was never going to be a good friendship anyway, and you don't want that. Like if they're not going to be a good friend to you, good riddance. Like fine,
let it go.
Yeah,
I feel like a good representation of that is like I cut a friend off, or I ended a friendship because I felt like every time I had gotten into a space with them or we hung out, it was always so gossipy. And I feel like I had like so much prior like shit happen with them and another like there was like two groups. It was like two groups of people. Let me just set the scene. And I feel like there was so much shit of like these groups fighting each other and like
was this
talking
high
shit.
School?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, girl,
and
is this recent?
I had like their back in everything that they were saying and everything that they were doing, whether it was blindly or like I actually believed everything. Like, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, like once that all got cleared out, like they still kept going. And I feel like I just started to like realize like every time I hang out, is this all we're going to talk about? Because like I don't want to continue to create drama. I don't want to create more like animosity and just like it leaves you feeling so shitty even when you talk so much. Like people like are trying to like bring themselves up, but you're really just like digging yourself in a hole. And so whatever, I ended up telling her like I just don't like the kind of like environment that we like.
Was it in a way of like this is done, or was it like, can we stop doing that?
I think I just stopped hanging out with her. And I think I brought it up once, like why do we have to talk about this? And she's like, what I don't know, remember what the conversation, but it was just kind of like it was kind of just brushed off. And I was like, okay, yeah, if they want to keep going, that's fine, but I'm not going to do this anymore. And so I think I just ended up having to have a discussion of like, hey, you know, I'm not hanging out with you that much anymore because I just don't think that the environment for me is like helpful or like makes me feel like I'm thriving. And so I don't know if we can be friends anymore. Like, I just don't like how you like talk about people. And I think that was like a core trait, at least at the time, like a core personality point for her. And I just didn't want to, like, if that's what she wanted to do, she could have she has other friends that she can do that with.
And it's like maybe a wake-up call.
Yeah, hopefully.
Or one day at least they can look back and be like, you know what, she was right about that.
Yeah,
like I was really like that, and that's fucked up, but I'm better now, or whatever. Which has nothing to do with you now, but yeah, you can only hope.
Dude, so many friendship breakups. I think also like being in high school, you just have a lot of tumultuous like feelings and times. And I think as an adult though, it's just a little more cutthroat, but it's just because you're just like, I can see it. It's not it.
No, I can see it. I think it's also just like looking back on friendships that have ended for me. I don't necessarily look back with like hatred or fondness. I'm just like, you know what? I appreciate all the times we did have and all the memories we do have, especially from like childhood. Like those were so innocent and just like we were living. And I'll always cherish those. And I hope nothing but the best for you now. But clearly, we were not going to be friends anymore. And that's fine.
Yeah. I think if people hold on to
friendship breakups from high school.
Or just like in general, like if you hold on to the hate from it, it doesn't help you and it doesn't make them any less of a person or makes them any like less living. So it's just like easier to put yourself in a place of like, we just didn't work out. And I hope that they have the friends that they are looking for.
And that's not in a shady way.
Not in a shady way, like actually
just in a way like I hope they're supported and loved.
Yeah, because you want to be supported and loved, and you moved away from that because you didn't feel that this person could do that for you. Just like a fucking relationship. I mean, maybe sometimes there's animosity, but I think about it the same way, girl. Like, just realize that they deserve to be with somebody that makes them feel whole, or not. I guess that's not the right wording, but like makes them feel lifted and elevated in their life, just as you do. And like, if that's not the person that you wanted, then why do they have to suffer? You know,
I feel like as an adult, friendship breakups have been like just like eye-opening and very much just like, that fucking sucks. Like, wow, we can't agree on something and that is shitty. Like, okay, especially when they are lifelong. It's like,
yeah, we almost had it. Yeah. I think when people try to run from like a friendship because they're scared to have like conversations about the issues at hand, I think that that's like in itself selfish.
Yeah.
Like, you're not putting the support that either of us need out there, and then you guys are both just left like confused and sad and like,
yeah, being in limbo
you
is
know,
probably way worse than just
saying we're not
knowing
friends.
it's over. But also
Yeah.
it's really hard to end something.
Because you have hope. You have hope that you can have the conversation or you can resolve the issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can. Sometimes, you know, like, I think people are able to come back together, but sometimes it takes like years of missing and years of feeling like,
years of personal healing and
yeah,
situations changing.
mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people just get tired and they're like, what was I even fucking mad about, you know?
That part,
So,
dude.
just be real with yourself and just fucking either, I feel like, just address it. I think that's the issue. Like, people don't like to address things.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you just got to do what's best for you. And if you feel like you're not being supported or loved at minimum from a friend, then maybe it's time to say bye. And if you're not sure, then listen to Glowing Hour, where we have red flags. And maybe there's ways to heal your friendship, relationship. Because honestly, you got to have friendship in any relationship you have. With your mom, with your dad, with your siblings. There's got to be some level of friendship in everything. Yeah.
I also think that like platonic friendships are some of the most special types of relationships, because like I think at least with romance there's so much like intimately involved, like sex and like other things, that like the romance aspect of it.
Yeah.
And with the friend,
you can get phased by it.
yeah, I think with a friend it's just like all of the realness of like, this is who I am.
We are not putting a little band-aid over with some sex real quick.
We're gonna need to talk about it, because that's all we can do about it. And I think like somebody who supports you through like all of that ugliness or all of like the good, it makes you feel like you have something just so special. And like, I don't know, friendship is just, it's literally fucking gold. I don't know.
I'm gonna plug this at the end because I just finished The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That book is heavy on friendship.
Really?
Heavy on friendship. Believe it or not. Oh, it was so good, you guys. You guys have to read that. There's actually book club questions at the end. So if y'all want us to do a book club episode on it, Mel's hopefully gonna read it.
I can probably go through it real quick.
Then let us know, because it was so good. So we'll see you guys in Glowing Hour later this week. And hopefully you guys have a good few days between seeing us. And hopefully you like this new layout.
Yeah, let us know what you
setup.
think. Please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel or any of like the other platforms we're on, Spotify, Apple, anything you're listening on, and leave us a review, please. And go hug your friend and tell her I'm so glad we haven't broken up. Just kidding.
Glad we're still together. Illy.
We'll see you on Friday. Bye.
Bye.